How are you guys?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us. So tell us what's going on at Colorado Rising Action.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about a proposal that we've mentioned before, but was officially introduced by Speaker Casey Becker this week, and that is it's going to go on the ballot, and it's a referendum for the voters to decide, but don't kid yourself. There's going to be a lot of messaging that goes into this, but it's really to take the Tabor cap and keep it for the state. So it's a tax increase on all of us, and they're trying to say it's not a tax increase, but let's get into that a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go back and explain. So if you remember Referendum C back in 2005 to 2010, it was something that the voters passed that was a temporary measure to fill some holes in government, and it passed by only a couple points, I believe, and because they promised that the money would go to education and health care.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. What ended up happening is that spending on other programs besides health care and education grew by 28%, whereas the spending on health care and education grew by only 12%. So that's just outrageous. The only reason voters approved that, I want to reiterate, is because it was going to these certain programs. And this year, what they're trying to do is say that it's going to go towards education and transportation, which is another reason the Democrats aren't pushing for more transportation money in the budget.
Because they think they're going to get money out of this instead.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. So first of all, for those that may be new to the state, and this is one of the things I have to remind myself of as well, we might have people listening right now that are either out of state, new to our state, just got here, and they have no idea what Tabor is. Now, most do, but a lot don't. What is Tabor, Lindsey?
Yeah, good point. I sometimes jump into the weeds a little too quickly. So the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights is something that's unique to Colorado, and it gives taxpayers the right to vote on tax increases, which is extremely important because it controls the size of our government and keeps it in check. It puts guardrails on how much government can grow, and it says that it can only grow based on inflation. So our government spending does grow every year, but it puts some sort of guardrails on that, which is really important. And without the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights and our balanced budget amendment, we could just, this past year, we would have grown by over $1 billion in taxes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. So in this, we have a $33 billion budget and a $1.4 billion surplus this year, and the Democrats who are in charge are trying to tell us that they don't have enough money, that things aren't getting funded.
Okay,
really,
real quick. So let me stop there for just 1 second.
Yeah.
Our whole budget is how much?
It's about $33 billion.
$33 billion is our entire state budget, and we have a surplus right now in that budget of how much?
$1.4 billion.
$1.4 billion. But the Dems keep saying we don't have enough money.
Exactly. Yep. They say that when it comes to things like education and transportation, roads and bridges.
And just real quick as a side note, and you probably know this figure as well, but let me just remind everybody that's listening, CDOT's entire budget, so Colorado Department of Transportation, the money that we use for our public highways and things that are handled statewide, not your local municipality, but all of our statewide roads that CDOT takes care of, and our new projects like I-70 and so on. Their entire budget is roughly $1.2 billion. We could literally, Lindsey, take this entire surplus, give it to CDOT, and double their budget.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And when Governor Polis sort of proposed that we use the surplus to fund his full-day kindergarten. So the Democrats who are in control of the budget this year, they're saying they're going to have to cut, capital improvements and some things like this. And it's sort of like, yeah, you have to work a little bit harder to make our budget efficient and prioritize some of the spending. And I don't feel bad for them.
So what they want to do, though, instead of actually doing that, is they essentially just want to tax us more, correct?
Yep. This isn't the first tax they proposed. Let me just reiterate that they're coming out with messaging saying this isn't a tax increase, and that is absurd. If they are keeping more of your tax money, it's a tax increase.
That's right. Sure is. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, but they're also talking, the paid family leave proposal is also a tax increase that they're trying to hide behind the word fee. They've talked about a gas tax increase. It's just pretty out of control.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, essentially, they don't think they've got enough money. They have more than enough, $1.4 billion to be exact, and yet they still want to keep coming after us for more and more money. And I fully believe, Lindsey, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying this. I fully believe that the Democrat Party in Colorado wants to see this state go broke. They want to see us be just like other states that are broke, i.e. California, because they frankly don't care. As much as they claim to care about the individual citizen of Colorado, the reality is they don't care one iota about the citizen of Colorado.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there, but it's sort of mind-boggling because they have families here. I assume that they would want to raise their families in a successful economy. And bear with me here, Lindsey. The way communism and socialism works is those that are at the top, they and their families are taken care of. They're fine. They have no issues with that whatsoever. It's the rest of us lowly schmucks out there that have to suffer that they don't care about. Yeah, so we found in some polling recently that exactly what you're saying is true, that people sort of in the middle and lower income brackets are even more supportive of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights because it does give them a say on how much more money would come out of their pockets. Yeah,
and let's face it, those that have means, that have wherewithal, we've seen it over and over and over again. Every single country. I mean, yeah, there's always that story of somebody had a lot of means and something happened and they lost everything. But typically speaking, even in countries like Venezuela right now, where the people there that have means, frankly, because of what's happened there, are probably doing better today than they were even 10 years ago, because that's what happens in those types of environments. So what happens is the middle to low class basically all go away. They become very much subjects of the government at that point in time, and the only body that really makes any money are the guys on top.
Yeah, let's not go the way of Venezuela, shall we?
Yeah, there's the last thing that we as a state ever want to do. But yet, Lindsey, that's what they're pushing for. I mean, every single thing that they have pushed through, from the red flag laws to SB 181, the gas and oil bill that's going through as we speak. I mean, all of the things that they're doing and literally shoving down our throats that the people didn't want. We voted no against those things in the last election, yet they're ignoring that, basically thumbing their nose at us and saying, we know better anyways.
Yeah, and so that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, is because it does put things on the ballot and it does give the people a voice. And they've made that voice heard. In the last election, we voted down the tax increases. The last 6 statewide tax increases have been voted down.
6 of them.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So everybody listening, think about that. We have voted down 6 in a row of tax increases. The people of Colorado, the citizenry, has said, no, we don't want that. Take the money that you have, use it more wisely, and we're not going to give you any more. And we're going to have Patrick Neville on here in just a little bit, and he'll tell us exactly, Lindsey, what you're saying is true. There is money there. It can be figured out. It really isn't even all that much. Here's the other thing, Lindsey, that everybody forgets. The Democrats don't have to do any work because the Republicans already have. The Republicans can figure out the budget and make everything work. The problem is the Democrats don't want to listen to it.
Right. And Patrick Neville will probably talk about this as well. But I think it's really important to let your legislators, if your legislators are supporting Tabor, let them know, because I am sure they're getting hit from all sides with the lobbyists and the Democrats in the Capitol. If they're doing something you like, I think it's just as important to let them know as if they're doing something you don't like.
Very well said. You also have another program coming up I want to talk about as well, so hang tight. We'll come right back. Lindsey Singer again with us from Colorado Rising Action. We'll be right back. Save the Children is up next, and it's a great organization that, by the way, I don't say this enough, they are not using taxpayer dollars to run around and help kids in our country or any other country for that matter. They are using your dollars that we donate directly, which is the way this is supposed to work, by the way, and they're saving kids' lives all around the world. 1-800-570-5155. That's the phone number. It's SaveChildrenKLZ.org.
A devastating hurricane wreaks havoc in Texas. Wildfires blaze through California. In crisis scenarios across the United States, Save the Children provides immediate care to those most impacted by disasters, children. Save the Children remains active year-round, giving kids here at home a healthy start in life, the opportunity to learn, and protection from harm. The best chance now for a bright future. Thanks to the ongoing efforts of Save the Children, they have a unique ability to address the needs of displaced children when disaster strikes. In many cases, because Save the Children has already developed long-term relationships with local educators, parents, and children, they know how to respond quickly and appropriately in a crisis. Save the Children works alongside other trusted organizations to create child-friendly spaces where displaced kids can feel safe in a time of chaos. Your $60 one-time gift can help Save the Children stand ready for an emergency close to home. Give today, 800-570-5155.
Go, 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 go. Come on, let's get out of here. Oh, come on. What's the matter? The car won't start. You know, all the member shops at coloradoselect.com say it's better to maintain your car than to repair it. Really? Thanks for the info. Yeah, I was listening to Drive Radio last Saturday on KLZ 560. They were saying you can easily and affordably avoid breakdowns if you regularly maintain your car at any of the trustworthy and knowledgeable Colorado Select member shops. You don't say. You know, we could have used this information a little earlier.
Please step out of the vehicle and go to coloradoselect.com, where you'll find a group of hand-picked member shops who all adhere to the highest standards of customer service and are located all across the Denver metro area. So at Colorado Select, it's easy to take care of the little things and avoid a lot of bigger problems later. You really should have gone to coloradoselect.com. Select the best at Colorado Select.
You're listening to KLZ 560. I'm Nicole Pascal here with your traffic and weather. You're going to run into an accident on C470 West at Santa Fe Drive, causing backups to University Boulevard and a 20-minute delay. 225 South has an accident right at Parker Road, not causing too many problems yet, though. And then you'll need to look out for a small in-town accident at South Monaco Parkway at Jewel Avenue. You're also going to need to look out for a medical emergency on 6th Avenue Freeway East at I-25. And there's some construction that has the right lane closed at Bellevue East at South University Boulevard. Aside from that, I-25 has some very heavy traffic through the downtown area, and it's building up northbound in the DTC area already. 225 has traffic both north and southbound right off of I-70, and the 270 and I-70 junction looks to be about normal, but 270 West is going to be a little heavy. There is ongoing construction. Your Skyview weather, it is currently 57 now. Your low tonight is 35, and your high tomorrow is 52.
On the next Mike Gallagher show, the Border Patrol says their detention centers are full and they'll have to start releasing illegals into the country. They'll give the illegals a court date and trust they will show up for their hearing. I have the unbelievable story. And former Ted Cruz staffer Chris Wilson will join us to discuss his tweet saying people who recline their seats on an airplane are monsters. Buckle in for that and more right here on the next Mike Gallagher show.
Mike Gallagher, 8 to 11 a.m. on KLZ 560.
Putting reason into your afternoon drive. This is John Rush.
Rush to Reason, Denver's Afternoon Rush, KLZ 560. Lindsey Singer joining us now from Colorado Rising Action. And Lindsey, you've also got a training type program coming up in April. Talk about that as well, would you?
Yeah, thank you. It's Colorado Rising Action is partnering with the Independence Institute to put on local government training, and it's going to be on Saturday, April 13th, for a few hours from 9 a.m. until noon. And if you are frustrated by what's going on in politics and looking for somewhere to put your energy besides yelling on Twitter or Facebook, and you have a little bit of time to spare, getting involved in your local boards and local commissions is a really good way to sort of change things from the ground up. The left is really good at this, and we need to be just as good. So if you're interested in registering, you don't need to register ahead of time, but it might help. Put it on your calendar.
Okay.
You can email me at info@coloradorisingaction.org. We'll also post this on our Facebook page, and we'll tweet about it. So, and I'll mention it next time I'm on if you'll let me. But
yes,
you sure can. So just info@coloradorisingaction.org, and you can get more information and get signed up for this local government training that can, put that anger and energy towards making your local community a little bit better.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. So the type of training that they're going to be doing for everybody that's listening, so we can get them more involved, what will they learn there in regard to that?
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about the application process of boards and commissions. It gets kind of confusing. There's over 300, I think, boards and commissions in Colorado, which is crazy. It's like the local subcommittee board on your neighbor's backyard or something like that.
Right.
And so some of the idea of this is to get involved and you say, wow, there's actually no need for this board or this local commission. Let's do away with it, because there's money spent on every single one of these.
Yes, great point.
Meetings, it's like a weekly or monthly meeting for all 300 of these boards, and a lot of money gets spent there. So we'll go over, talk about the application process and what you can expect when you're on the board. And a lot of them are by appointment, so it can be sort of frustrating, and you need to be a little bit persistent. So we'll just talk about the best ways to go about doing that, and give some support and some follow-up support after.
So in other words, we're going to take people that, have got strong interest. They want to see some things change. They're tired. They're mad. They're upset. But we're going to give them real tools on how we can actually go out and make some changes.
Yes.
Perfect. I like that. Again, how do people register for that? Which again, I'm with you. Even though they don't have to, it helps them to do so and then put it on their calendars. How do they do that?
Yeah, email me at info@coloradorisingaction.org.
Okay, perfect. Again, that's Lindsey Singer. She is with Colorado Rising Action. All right, Lindsey, we've had several things that have been run through the legislature already, and frankly, in my opinion, just being rammed down our throats. One of those being the national, vote law, which Governor Polis has already signed, which means basically we just gave up. Basically means we shouldn't even have the president on the ballot, because whatever goes along with the popular vote, that's what our electoral college would do according to our law today, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, some polling just came out that says Colorado voters are sort of split on the national popular vote, which tells me that we just need to do a better job of educating.
I was just going to say, which means they really don't understand how their vote now really does not count. They think it didn't count before, and that by doing this, it's going to count somehow. What they did is they just threw their vote away.
Yeah.
Completely. And I don't think, and to your point, Lindsey, I think we need to do a better job of educating people that, I saw a meme the other day that said something along the lines of, our electoral college has worked for like 250 plus years, but now that now that Hillary lost the election, it's null and void. We should no longer have it. I mean, that's really what this boils down to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absurd. I mean, because Donald Trump is president, they want to change the whole way that our election system works. I don't understand the reason in that, but there is going to be an effort to get this on the ballot to give Coloradans a voice, and what we really need to do is make sure everyone understands how important the Electoral College is.
Got it. Okay, last thing in closing, and I don't know if whether you can speak to this or not, but I know there are several different recall efforts, some to recall some of the senators and representatives in Colorado, and there's a couple of recalls going on, came out in the news even this week, to basically recall Governor Polis. Now, I don't think those recalls with Polis can start until he's been in office for at least 6 months. How familiar are you with some of those things going on?
I've been reading about it. I'm not sure how much energy the recall Polis. I mean, I know people are very passionate about it. I don't think what he's doing is good for Colorado, but I do think we had a legitimate election, and where he won, and he's governor. And I think that we're going to have another opportunity to give him feedback and give our legislature feedback in 2020.
Okay. I got an email from somebody a moment ago, which I thought was interesting, and I have to do some reading on this because this just came in while I was on air talking, and this basically is something somebody scanned to me, and essentially it's an article out of one of the gun publication that says Gun Laws We Need Part 3. And basically what this entire article is talking about is the fact that we need a law, in fact, already have a law that means we can basically prosecute legislatures for doing things that go against certain rights that we have. In other words, any acts that are abhorrent to the Constitution is grounds for not just censure, disgrace, and dismissal, but it is grounds for punishment. And we actually, according to this article, have laws on the book. It's 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. Supposedly, we already have those, just nobody's enforcing them on legislatures that go rogue.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that law, but I would encourage any lawyers listening or anyone who's passionate about this, you can find a lawyer to pursue that.
Yeah, I would like to know more about this and whether or not this is something that actually, Lindsey, could be legally challenged. Because if that's the case, I think there is enough money even in Colorado where we could round up some things along those lines, go after some of these legislatures that are doing things, i.e., the voting, the changing the way we vote in our electoral college, that is unconstitutional. That should be punishable by law.
Yeah, I totally agree. And regarding the Second Amendment, there are a lot of counties who are going about the Second Amendment sanctuary county route, which are telling their sheriffs that they don't have to abide by the red flag bill.
Yeah, they're even going one step further. They're saying you don't have to abide by it, and frankly, you'll have no funding for this. So the reality is you're not going to be able to do anything on it because there's no money available.
Right.
Which, by the way, that's, in my opinion, that's the best way to go about this. By just defunding something and not allowing any money to go towards that, you've essentially killed it at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's 13 or 14 counties by now.
It keeps growing. I keep looking at the map, and what I know is all the updates that I get, Lindsey, that the red just continues to grow. There's the way the map works for everybody listening is all the counties that are on this map that are doing what Lindsey's talking about get colored red. The ones that have not are white, and there's far, far, far more red than there is white, Lindsey.
Yeah, talk about sending a message, whether they're listening or not.
Right.
To the legislature and to Governor Polis.
Well said. Lindsey, how do folks find more out about Colorado Rising Action? Where do they need to go?
ColoradoRisingAction.org.
Great. Lindsey, thank you so much. I appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
All right. Up next.